Tonight, another family is calling for hospital policies to change so that families can have more access to their loved ones with COVID. This as a petition asking Governor Ron DeSantis to help change policy continues to grow.
Where do I start? Just everything I wanted to be.
COVID robbed Peter Roberson of his healthy 50-year-old father. Weeks later, it took his 44-year-old uncle, Paul Sampson, who was a pastor in Brooker, Florida. And the very next day, he lost his 71-year-old grandfather, Gene Sampson, a retired firefighter who lived just a mile from Peter and his parents in Orange Park.
It seems like the men in our family that were needed the most, that were relied on the most, that did the most, were the ones that passed.
Just been horrible.
In the span of just 3 weeks, Peter's mom, Irene, lost her father, her brother, and her husband.
I never thought I was going to have to live any of my life without my husband, but certainly not at this young age, and certainly not my father and my brother.
She and her husband, Steve, were both admitted to St. Vincent's Riverside Hospital July 7th with COVID.
And so they were rolling me to my room, and as I passed by my husband's room, he was sitting on the edge of the bed having a snack, and we just waved to each other. We just thought it was going to be another day or two, and we'd be out doing all the things that we had to be doing. That was the last time that I laid eyes on him, because when I left the hospital 4 days later, they would not even let me go near his room or on his floor, or none of that. That was the last time I saw my husband.
After 26 years of marriage, she says she and their 2 children never got to say goodbye due to hospital protocol.
I think it's very important that something be done to change that.
She says she wasn't allowed to see her husband until the very end when they were doing chest compressions.
He never did revive, so meaning he had already passed. But we could gown up then and double mask then and go see him. But why not when he could hear our voices and respond and feel the love and say last words? Why were we denied that? It's not right. It's not right. And it's important to the person in the hospital, probably more than they even realize it, but it's also important to us who never got to say goodbye. Apparently, and I didn't know this, but the neighbor kids would come down the street and he would be the man that would help them fix their bikes.
The Robersons are clinging to their faith.
That just makes me love them more.
It's the only thing we have to cling to in a time like this, when so much is lost.
For Irene, that lost goodbye only adds more heartache and pain.
It's not right, it's not fair. It's not fair to the person in the hospital, it's not fair to the family members either.
As Peter starts his first year of college, he holds tightly to memories of his grandfather, uncle, and father, feeling both their presence and their absence.
I feel so empty and I feel so betrayed in an odd way, because when I press that number, it's just going to keep on ringing. He's never going to pick up.
Such a tremendous void for that family. I reached out to Ascension St. Vincent's. The hospital tells me the health and safety of its patients, associates, and visitors are its top priorities. In a statement, it said, "We know how important and impactful it can be for a hospitalized patient to see loved ones, and we take this into account when creating and adjusting our policies, which are in place for everyone's safety." It went on to say that our policies are also in alignment with clinical best practices used by many hospitals and health systems locally, regionally, and nationally. And you can read more about this story and also find a link to the change.org petition calling for hospital policy to change in this story on our website.